Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition. Sorry that we've been gone for a while, but who's counting? You guys don't care about us. Anyways, welcome to the XFL Newsroom Unhinged podcast. I'm your host, Jay Dash, a.k.a. Jim Ornier, or with our arch-rival podcast out there, the podcast that spread rumors about Bob Stoops going to Florida State. Yay, that's me. Those weren't really rumors if major news networks were purporting it, people. But anyways,
and I am your fellow partner in crime, just your mild-mannered wrestling movie guy. How's it going, y'all?
Not no mild manner. Stop lying, you fool.
I like to think I am.
So we've been gone for a while, and I know a lot of people out there wondering, where's your podcast been? Why we haven't been dropping stuff? Basically, I do have 3 jobs technically. This podcast, my other job with a Florida State associated website, and of course my real day-to-day job. So it's been pretty busy, pretty hectic. So what did we miss over the last couple of weeks? Well, we missed a lot. Jerseys, footballs, mini camps.
Check.
Oliver Luck calling out Johnny Manziel, which was another check.
Checkaroo.
So there's been a lot. So if everyone doesn't know what this podcast is about, we are not the type of podcast that is a company line. We're going to be, rah XFL all the time. Technically, I didn't really do that over the last couple of weeks because I was being accused of spreading false rumors about Bob Stoops going to Florida State. Again, I was just doing my job. But anyways,
we got new uniforms, we got helmets, we got mini camps, we got players getting cut, we got coaches trying to rile up their armies of football players and get this season going. Yes. But there is one thing we're going to talk about real quick, something that is quite new for this show. We have got ourselves some good deals for you guys. If you're trying to get some old school XFL gears, check out 503 Sports. And when you check out, type in Unhinged, and you will get 10% off your order. And there's a little bit of a lottery or something like that going on. Do you want to explain that to them, James?
A lottery. So, yeah, well, it's not really a lottery. It's more of a appreciation to our fans. It's, it's Christmas time where we give away stuff, but we're not just going to give away free stuff. Well, technically, we are giving away.
That's the whole point.
We're giving away free stuff, but we're just not going to hand it to you. So, this podcast, next podcast, and throughout the whole season, XFL Newsroom.com, Unhinged Podcast, are giving away free tickets to any XFL game of your choosing, the listeners, besides opening weekend. Opening weekend, we'll have 2 tickets. And you'll join me and Carlos at Washington versus St. Louis in Audi Field when the XFL kicks off in February. But we will have key phrases and key terms and, different comments and questions for you to answer to get such tickets. For example, keyword of this podcast today is Cardell Jones. But you must DM us what it is, the key phrase, and you must give us the actual information or my opinion about a certain subject, this case, the XFL footballs, for the later of the show. You must DM us this with the phrase, Cardell Jones, and my opinion.
On the XFL footballs.
It's not the first one who sent it that gets it. You'll have the random, and I'll post it on Twitter of all the people who've sent their information in. And we'll do a random drawing 3 weeks out of the first game. And you guys will get 2 tickets to meet me and Carlos at the DC versus St. Louis game, DC versus Seattle game. First week of the season. So that's something we're going to do. And each week it'll be the same way. You'll get whoever wins it, you tell us what game you want, and we'll pull some strings to the XFL, and you get those 2 tickets for the game of your choosing from week 2 forward.
And we'd like to thank the XFL for allowing us to do this. So long story short, guys, make sure you pay attention to James's opinion on the XFL balls, and make sure you DM Cardell Jones at Unhinged Podcast. So let's get on with the show. What should we start off with today?
I just like how you said that. He said the XFL balls.
Balls.
Sorry, mine went
Balls,
somewhere
balls,
completely
balls.
where it's not supposed to, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize, but who cares?
All right,
Um,
Duke Nukem.
so the jerseys debuted, the footballs debuted, but let's get to the
To the jerseys. Let's have a gander at these.
uh my first opinion when these jerseys first dropped. I know a lot of people out there are fans of good quality jerseys.
Who
Honestly,
isn't?
I have to admit the XFL jerseys come out to be a little bit too bland, in my opinion. Too basic, in my opinion. Then I started looking at the actual details of what they're trying to present. I thought all the jerseys looked identical at one point, just different color scheme. They have, their different type of twitches. That's it's a jersey. You're not going to get like the NFL. You got 32 different type of designs. You're not going to be like college football. There's 140 some type of designs. But sitting down and looking at each jersey, I've become more and more fond with the Seattle Dragons helmet. I think that's the best helmet out of all 8. I love the color scheme of the Houston Roughnecks. I don't know what's going on in DC, brother, but your jerseys are just, basic red and white, and that is it.
Sometimes less is more. I feel like it kind of really reminds me of like Alabama or Nebraska. I kind of like them. I mean, they're not the best jersey. They're kind of in the middle ground. I actually kind of feel like some of these are a little too bold, if that makes any sense. Like the Seattle Dragons uniform really reminds me of NFL Europe. It looks a lot like the Berlin Thunder or the Frankfurt. What were they called again? Frankfurt, whatever that. Frankfurt Fire. That's what it is. I was like, Jesus. I was just looking at them earlier. But the one that really sticks out to me is the New York Guardians jersey. That really reminds me of the Cleveland Browns, especially with the pattern setup on the arms or the shoulder sleeves. It really does remind me of the Cleveland Browns.
Well, one thing I do got to admit about the Guardians' jersey, not their helmet. I love that logo on that helmet. That black helmet with that Guardian logo. That's a nice helmet. I got to admit, the logos on the helmets, even though a lot of the fans have hated the logos when they first debuted, I don't mind them. Tampa Bay is still a question mark in my opinion, but that's Tampa Bay. I'm always going to have a question mark about them.
The Randy Ortons, I don't know about these uniforms. They just don't look that great. It's like, okay, solid, bright, solid. If you just scroll down the website on XFL Shop. One thing, though, I got to say that I really don't like about these jerseys, not so much the jerseys themselves, but the price. Good Lord, $225 for an authentic jersey that, for a league that hasn't even played a down yet, is pretty ridiculous to me. I really don't like these prices.
But a league that's supposed to be family friendly.
Seriously, that's not affordable. Those are the exact same prices
that's more than 2 season tickets.
So I don't understand what logic that makes on their part. They did say that they sold out within a couple of days. Maybe
I don't think it's the authentic jersey. I think it's just the replica jersey. That's $80.
Even that's still too high. I think 50 would have been a much better way to go because the people are going to be able to afford that. They could probably get multiple ones, and at the very least, you'd be selling more because they're cheaper. So that way, it's better overall advertising. Because the more people wear your team's jersey out on the streets, the more people are going to be like, "Huh, where did you get that from?" Or "What team is that?" And more word of mouth spreads about the XFL for those who may have missed it, on social media or when they announced it on ESPN and whatnot.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. I honestly, I don't disagree with you with that. I really think when you have a football league that's based on being family friendly, $20 gets you in the stadium. One of the main critics of this league, or how they basically the foundation of what this league was meant on, is to get a family of 4 into the stadium for $400. That was their basic model.
It's like if you go to the movies and you buy your movie ticket for like $5, but then you go up to buy popcorn and they charge you $25, $30. That's pretty much how this feels.
Yeah. So for instance, if you like say have a family for 4 tickets, $20 is $100. Johnny wants a T-shirt and Elizabeth wants a foam finger. Well, there's $50 right there.
Mm-mm.
Oh, what happens if Dad actually wants to buy some good gear like the jerseys? What's the difference? You're going to an XFL game. Yeah, the tickets are for $20 each, but you're still basically spending the same amount of money where two people can go to an NFL game and spend. I'm not saying that that's happened. It's going to happen to every single family of four. I'm just saying you set this standard and this goal that the XFL is going to be family friendly. $20 gets you in the door, but I say, hey, buy our new jerseys. They're $80, or they're $230. It's stabbing in the back.
Even the youth jerseys are way too expensive. I mean, $75 for a shirt that the kid's probably going to grow out of in a couple of years is really ridiculous. They should at least have some kind of Christmas special or something going. But
They did have a Christmas special, but it was on like beanies.
Oh, come on! People want jerseys.
Yeah.
Although a beanie does keep your ears warm in winter, so there is that.
Yeah. Well. Also, with the jerseys and the helmets, one thing that I've noticed is that the color combinations of these teams they're not as, how can I say, they're not screaming like the old XFL teams were. They're not, flashy jerseys like the old XFL, or crap, I can't even say the AAF. They're not, there's nothing on these jerseys, anywhere on these jerseys that scream like they don't belong on a football team's color scheme. One thing I do like out of the helmets, let's talk about the helmets.
Mm-hmm.
LA's helmet, too basic. That just says LA on it. Which, okay. I think my personal opinion, I love the Dallas Renegades helmet. I love that color scheme with the baby blue and the Renegade logo.
The Mass Marauder.
Yeah.
It does look very nice.
I love the Guardians helmet, that color scheme right there, and I like Seattle Dragons' helmet. The one helmet I think it just screams to me, hey, we want to be like Philadelphia. Let's put the wings on it like the Battlehawks. I understand that's I see where they're coming from, but it just, to me, I get that, let's be like an actual professional and a team that already has a similar type of helmet scheme like the Philadelphia Eagles. But overall, when we found out the team names a couple of months ago, and we talked about it on one of our shows, how we were like, oh, really? The Vipers or the Wildcats? You know how we were down on those names of those two teams. I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but the Vipers and the Wildcats, again, are the two worst jerseys, in my opinion, in the whole 8 teams.
I think the name Vipers is fine because Vipers. I don't know. It's just something about that sounds cool. But the Wildcats, I can't get over that. The freaking Wildcats.
Yes. And maybe next time when they do design jerseys for maybe for the expansion teams, maybe, possibly, hopefully, they won't have to go to the old Arena Football League to look for jersey designs, because if you do have some time, ladies and gentlemen, you can go look on Google and go look up the New York Dragons jerseys. They are the spitting image of the Los Angeles Wildcats jerseys. Identical. Very, very, very close. But then again, you'll have some people who say that the UAB Blazers' helmet is the same as the Seattle Dragons helmet. So,
I think if there's one team of the 2020 XFL that has similar colors to the prior administration in 2001, I'd say St. Louis Battlehawks really do remind me of the New York, New Jersey Hitmen. And I like that. It's like trip down memory lane every time I look at these jerseys. So I dig that. I'm also okay with the Seattle Dragons uniform. It really makes me think of NFL Europe with the Berlin Thunder. I kind of miss those days. But it pains me to say it. the best looking uniform is got to be the Dallas Renegades. It's such a pretty looking uniform. But why does it have to be in Dallas? Boo.
Well, it may be the only chance that the city of Dallas can actually have a division winner, possibly this year. Ooh, little harsh right there. But I don't care.
I'd rather see the Eagles win the division than the Cowboys, but we're getting off XFL topic.
Yeah,
Let's keep it in-house here.
But we do know that we are a couple. Wow, we are 6 weeks away from the kickoff of the season because we got Week 17 in the NFL. Then we got the wild card round, the divisional round, the championship round, bye week, Super Bowl. So we're 6 weeks away from the kickoff of the XFL season. And in a blink of an eye, we'll be talking about who is going to be in the XFL playoffs.
Actually, that does remind me. I saw recently there was an article that said that the XFL championship will indeed be played at one of the home stadiums of the XFL. So they're not going to be doing it in Vegas, it looks like. So that pipe dream is gone. No,
that's our last podcast was basically a waste, but who cares? It's we're doing this for fun. Our job is to piss off keyboard warriors on the internet saying that we spread false news. But one thing that's given the overall grade of these jerseys, on my honest opinion, the best jersey, like you said, is the Dallas Renegades. I love their helmet, and I love their color scheme of the jerseys. But if you want to rank the jerseys, dead last to me is the Vipers. They're dead last to me. Period. That's just all green and light green. Yeah, okay, that's whatever. But from the color palette of all these teams, I really want to say, like you said, less is more. DC is just basic red and white. The Guardians are very basic jersey. But my opinion, the top three jerseys are Houston, Dallas, Seattle, and I have to say DC because it's just they resemble what the team the team name is supposed to be. It's not outrageous or beyond like we've seen like with the Memphis Express in the AAF. Their jerseys were a little too out there in my opinion. But I think the people who are Tampa Bay Viper fans may disagree with me. I just think your team name stinks and the color scheme stinks, and I have a hatred for Tampa Bay, and I live in the state of Florida for some odd reason. I just don't like it. But
I have no feeling one way or the other when it comes to Tampa Bay sports. Although I do remember in 2002 when the Bucks won the Super Bowl. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't really think there's any one jersey here that like straight up gets an F for me. I think in some ways they're very competently made. They're kind of going for a simplistic look, not trying to go over the top like NFL Rush jerseys, except for you, Tampa Bay. But if I had to pick, the top three, from 1, 2, 3, starting at the top, we got the Renegades, can't deny it. Then the Battlehawks. In third place, it's tough, either Seattle or the Guardians. I like the Browns color scheme, so I already like the Guardians one. So I guess, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. It goes Dallas, St. Louis, and New York Guardians. 1 to 3.
So we are really not, we do have opposite opinions. That's interesting. Wow.
My God.
Yeah, we don't both agree on something. That's interesting. So let's switch to another topic, and this will be very interesting, very detailed information. As we know, back in 2001, when the XFL was debuted, the traditional black and red and white football was used. It was unique compared to the original NFL footballs and the college footballs. It just looked like a different football by itself.
It was glorious.
The XFL debuted 8 authentic game footballs for all 8 teams. And from what my brother in crime has said, The New York Guardians authentic football almost looks very close to the original XFL logo, the black and the red. And come to look at it, he's right on point. That looks like the old school XFL logo with the new school design. The Roughnecks, in my opinion, looks just like the XFL logo today. Exact color scheme.
That's because it is.
Because it is. So here is my beef about the XFL footballs. We have 8 different designs. Nice. That's cool.
Sounds good on paper, in theory.
Why? Why do we need 8 different designs? You could have just had the Houston Roughnecks authentic game football and just have that as the XFL football. But I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to build a brand. They're trying to build an identity of a football. Yes, a football is a football. And if you're in certain parts of the country, footballs may be overinflated or deflated, whoever your liking is. But why do I do not like all these different brand or all these different color schemes for footballs? I really do think they're trying to sell more image of each individual team besides the actual league itself. Yes, XFL's all over it. We see all the logos all the time. Just look at the damn football. But one thing is when these footballs first debuted, and I saw on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, I looked at it quickly and I'm like, man, this is a cheap football. This looks like a cheap design. This looks like a football you could get at Walmart for $20. Then I looked again close into the football and I realized that there is engraved little XFL markings all over the football. And I like that. That's a nice little, uniqueness to a football. But where do I hate this football? It's not because I dislike that there's 8 different names. I understand what they're trying to do, different brand, trying to be different. But this is unique in the NFL because the NFL only has the NFL football. In college, each team has their own, they have their team logo they have the FSU logo, they have a Georgia Bulldog logo or Nebraska logo on each football. The college football does this. But it's different to see in the XFL now with the teams like Defenders, Battlehawks, Vipers, and so on. But where do not like it is when we went from the jerseys just a moment ago.
I can think of a reason.
In the hell, if you're setting the standard of this league to be family friendly, family friendly.
Take 2.
So basically, when you buy a season pass or season tickets to your favorite XFL franchise for about $125 plus tax, roughly, you can get an authentic football for the same price as your season tickets. Why are the footballs $125?
It makes no sense. Like, no football is worth that amount of money unless it was signed by, like, Joe Montana or your boy Tom Brady. That makes 0 sense, and it's absolutely ludicrous that they're doing this as well. If I was to buy that, I would never, ever play with the damn ball because it's a $125 football. I'm not going to play with that. I just put it up on a mantle, and that's it.
And I get people that say, I even said on Twitter, it's like, this is ridiculous. You can't get an NFL authentic football for less than that. So you can get an authentic football from the NFL for $100 or less. But that's an NFL authentic football. That's a bigger brand. That's a bigger name than the XFL.
Exactly. The XFL is trying to put its best foot forward, and it seems like they're talking out both sides of their mouth. Oh yeah, the tickets are cheap. You want merchandise? Better set up a mortgage to pay it off because this stuff is expensive.
That's another question. That's another subject we can get into. I hate to say XFL, but the quality of your T-shirts are crap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got my Defenders T-shirt. Got a Renegade. I got the Houston Roughnecks jerseys. I'm a big dude. I get 3 X's, and I washed them twice, and it looks like I can't. I need to be. Wearing 2X shirts pretty soon. They shrink a lot, and the logo's already fading out. But I've already sent my complaint to the XFL, and they're like, we are working on it, and we understand. So at least they're listening to the fans.
At least they responded. That's good.
And I can't really bash them because of that, because they are giving us permission to do what we're doing about our ticket giveaway with the keyword Cardell Jones.
And we appreciate it.
But you look at, I understand where they're getting it with the football things. And the jerseys, matching jerseys. They're trying to sell a product, trying to sell a brand of the league. Completely understand it. But why?
Gotta wonder how much does it cost to actually manufacture these balls? Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yes.
Are they using the finest, pigskin leather in the world or something like that?
Well, I don't know. I just think they're using an independent company that's not Wilson, that's not, Reebok or whoever makes footballs. They're using an independent company that's doing the mass production of these footballs, and they're charging a little extra because it's a different company compared to the usual brand. Because was it Starters doing the jerseys in the XFL?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Yeah.
And Starters not what you like to call Nike. They're not Under Armour. So they're still trying, stay competitive, and that's one thing I was pretty stunned to see Starter go to the XFL, seeing that. Well, none of their jerseys in the AAF were that really bad compared to the Memphis Express, were a little screaming, but I like the Apollo's jerseys.
That's where they have to follow the design by ownership or whoever it is that comes up with the look of the jerseys. I was just thinking though, because I'm probably not going to buy one of these footballs. Like, no way in hell am I paying $125 for a football. But if you are listening to this program and you happen to own one of these footballs, feel free to DM us. Let us know how the grip is, how well it throws. Is it slippery at all? Does it feel like $125 worth of a football? So feel free to let us know.
Yeah. Or if you don't like your football, you can send it to our 2 locations. We'll gladly accept them.
Sure, why not?
But I'm still trying to pull some strings on that on my end to get an XFL football. So I'm trying to get my buddy who works with the Tampa Bay Vipers to pull some strings for me. So, but he's like being every type of douchebag over the years, telling me like, "Hey, I've told you stuff before, and you never gave me credit." So, well, it's not my problem that you told me this.
Well, the thing is that if you do give him credit, he could get into trouble.
Exactly.
It's deep throat. We get the information, but you could lose your job by us giving out this information.
Exactly.
Also, that was kind of me to call him a douche. Yeah. He's giving us info. What the fuck? What is that about?
One of the things I do like to discuss about, even though we talked about the jerseys and the helmets and the footballs, and we know what the league's trying to do. They're trying to build up their own brand for their own identity for each team in the XFL. One thing I did not know. One thing I've been reading into is I have to give bad props to the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Seattle Dragons, and the Roughnecks and the Renegades. Those 4 organizations are kicking ass in ticket sales. I know the AAF failed. We know what happened. That's what the ref of the XFLNewsroom.com did a little joke on our Discord at XFLNewsroom.com/Discord. The only reason why Starter came to the XFL to do jerseys for the XFL is because they already got paid and got the check. They're still awaiting their check from the AAF.
Good luck with that.
And that was a little deep shot, and that was pretty good. One thing I got to admit, even though that this podcast is not supposed to be following the company like, I do want to applaud the fans out there for supporting this league. I want to applaud the social media guys from all 8 XFL franchises. They are kicking ass, sending out information, videos, news, interviews. They're doing a great job. Highlights of mini camps to players signings to meet and greets. The XFL has been doing a really good job of promoting this league, unlike the other failed spring league from last year that didn't really do anything. But I have to give credit where credit is due to the four organizations I mentioned: the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Seattle Dragons, the Roughnecks, and the Renegades. I do believe that those four organizations are going to have some great ticket sales, or should I say, they are kicking ass in ticket sales. So I think those home fields will be very exciting for football. Unfortunately, the two teams that we hate the most here on this podcast, not by choice, by hey, just pure hatred, even though it's not really, massive hatred. It's just the team names and their locations.
It's not cowboy level hatred.
No, it's not cowboy.
It's just the creative choices made where it could have been better.
LA and Tampa are still falling behind, but they're not that far behind. Compared to the other two teams, New York and DC, I feel like they're mid-tier, but still. We got a month left until the kickoff, but I do know that I have a great feeling that the XFL will have bigger support, bigger following than the AAF has ever had or never had. So hopefully we have a good kickoff here in the month and a half from now. Hopefully we can get things going. And one thing that made that leap towards of having a great kickoff is that something that the XFL didn't have back in 2001 and something that the AAF didn't do is actually have a mini camps. So all 8 teams had mini camps over the last week. It lasted a week long. Players got to meet their other teammates, quarterbacks, starting to get a rhythm with their receivers, and fans went out to go into these meet and greets to live practices. It's something that you can see that cities are actually supporting these teams. And one thing that I want to point out about mini camps, the people who don't understand football, you just can't have a football team come together 3 weeks before the start of the season and think they're going to know what their partner is going to do on a third down conversion. It doesn't happen overnight. That's one thing that you noticed in the XFL in 2001, especially the first game of the season between the Hitmen and the Vegas Outlaws, is that it was really, really bad football because those guys were only together for maybe 3 weeks. Then, hey, we're going to our 8 cities and play. Mini camps are meant to get the whole team together, the whole organizations together, the coaching staffs together, and you start building your game plan, what type of style offenses you're going to play, what type of defenses you're going to play, and get all the dirt, the rust off you, and get ready to play some football because a lot of these players are usually playing right now, either in college or NFL. That's because this is what time of the year football is. Some of these players are not used to playing in spring, so they're not used to playing arena-style football or of AAF or the XFL of this year.
It's also a great way for self-promotion for each team because the key word there was fans. Originally, they did not allow fans to come in. There was very little coverage by the press in 2001, but now you can have news reporters come in, you can have fans come in, and you don't have to charge money on television for advertising or radio. Like right then and there, you're getting pretty good promotion because it's going to be all over Twitter, all over Facebook. It's going to be all over the place. Now, mind you, that unless somebody's really, searching up XFL or, it pops up on their feed, they may not see as much. But by having the opportunity for the press and the fans to show up and say, hey, I'm hanging out with Cardell Jones over here. Let's take a selfie. It really is a good way to connect the fans, whether they're old fans of 2001 or just new fans that are looking for a different kind of football game. It's a really good way to interconnect everyone with the team. So I think they've done a pretty good job about that.
Yes. And also, one thing I do like is you've seen the NFL do it over the last couple of years of having open practices for their fans. 10 years ago, you were not even allowed to be anywhere near an NFL minicamp or an NFL training camp. Mm-hmm. They're really sticklers about it. Now they're they're more acceptive of that. I think arena football was the same way. Well, they were more open to the fans, but these players of the XFL, some of them are trying to get their second chances to get into the NFL, or one last hurrah. I still love the game. I'm going to play the game, but I know I'm not NFL ready. It's a chance for these players to be where they're at. One thing that I like about the mini camps, I think everyone had an open camp for fans. I think besides I want to say New York, but I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure New York did. Maybe just not as much coverage.
Yeah, but Seattle had one. I think it was like a Tuesday last week, and it had like 3,000 people show up to a mini camp. That tells you that Seattle is going to be a very hard place to go into and win football games.
Seattle in general has a great culture, whether it's baseball or their poor Supersonics that were ripped away from them, or the Seahawks. Everybody comes out and supports. I mean, look at MLS. The Seattle Sounders, they have a fantastic following. I think they average around 30,000 plus fans each game. So they give them a lot of props.
The highest attendance in the well, they're the second highest. Atlanta's number one now, but Seattle used to be one or two. So yeah, Seattle's always a great fan base. But one thing I like what this XFL is doing, I know how we've hated on the price tags of their merchandise. That's not going to stop us from being fans of this league. It's not going to stop us in 2 weeks breaking down what teams we think are going to be the best teams in the XFL.
We're being constructive. We're trying to bring some constructive criticism.
Yeah. And we're not going to talk about, week 5 prediction after J-Dash went a 4-0 per week in the XFL and separating through the competition for the year-long pick'em with all the guys at XFL Newsroom. I'm excited the XFL is getting here. It's been almost a 2-year wait to get to this point. And because we are in the season of giving, this is... I know we haven't been on top of it over the last couple of weeks, but I do want to tell you that just brace yourselves because XFLNewsroom.com is going to be doing Friday nights kickoff shows where we break down every single game of the XFL, and we'll do our predictions. Like for you fans out there, it's like watching NFL Sunday Night Countdown or prime time. It's basically when you're trying to watch a football game
and get yourself ready for the weekend.
Exactly. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, that my feline friend decided to jump on my laptop.
Damn you, Apollo!
Yes, and no, he is not named after the Orlando Apollos. But we're gonna have a lot of stuff coming for you starting in a couple of weeks. 10 weeks of action, 2 playoff weeks. Hopefully, we will start getting more information of breaking down teams, not like previewing games, making predictions of who's going to win what game, who's our preseason champions. See how much accurate we are, how right we are, how dumb we are, how stupid we are,
very.
How epic we are. Maybe the worst. I think the Tampa Bay Vipers could be the worst team in the league, and they could end up winning the whole damn thing. I just don't know.
Maybe they'll take our criticism and use it as fuel to make themselves better. It does happen.
So on this lovely Christmas edition of the Unhinged podcast, I want to say to you, the listeners, thank you for being around. Please support us on XFL Newsroom Unhinged, on Twitter, on Discord, and we don't have Instagram. No, that's not us.
What the hell is Instaham?
Yeah, Instagram. But
never heard of her.
Yeah, me either. I didn't hear her either. But enjoy your time. Spend time with your families. We'll be around. I know this could be a bad way to end the show, but I've been kind of fighting the sickness over the last couple of days. As you can tell, you can hear my voice is breaking up a little bit. Let's just say hopefully you guys out there enjoy the XFL for what it is. Be thankful, because if you wanted Santa to give you a gift of an XFL purchase of some sort, why not just go to 503sports.com, keyword unhinged, to get your purchase that way of old XFL gear.
Don't forget about the tickets. Make sure to write down the keywords, Cardell Jones, and make sure to DM J-Dash there on his Twitter feed and tell him at
XFL Unhinged.
Exactly.
XFL Newsroom Unhinged. My bad.
Either one of those. But if you're following us on here, you already know what it is. And if you can't find him, just look me up at Wrestling Movie G. You will see a link to his Twitter account. And just say the keyword Cardale Jones, or is that 2 words? And his opinion on the XFL footballs. Was it positive or was it negative? And that's it. Those tickets will be yours if you win the random name pick. We're gonna throw. We're just gonna throw names in a hat, move it all around, pick one out, and voila, there will be a winner.
And you'll be announced 2 weeks before, or 2 weeks before the first game. And I'll tell you again, ladies and gentlemen, it will be for the Seattle Dragons and the Washington Defenders first game of the XFL season. You come join us. You're gonna join if you're like me from down south. I'm going up there in February. I'm going to be freezing my ass off for the game, most likely. But if you're not, just come and enjoy the game with us. So from us here at the XFL Unhinged podcast, have a very, very joyful holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays. And you want to say Happy Holidays too, Papalo? Get off the computer, my friend. Anyways.
Happy everybody.
Happy everybody. You've been Unhinged, and be thankful for what you got. This is XFL Podcast, XFL Unhinged Podcast, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
Catch you later, y'all. Peace.